to provide us. Yes, the nominal figure and what the net figure was, because you take treasuries to pay off the ones and take more. That's how basically it works.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have the figures, but I mean, I will take leave of this and then we'll escalate it so that my brother can have a peace of mind. Yeah. Exactly. So, Mr. Chairman, that's okay. Honorable, that is not because of rollover. Don't let us argue that. Honorable nominee, you have been on the Finance Committee and you followed the budget. The Ministry of Education budget has moved from 7.5 billion cedis in 2016 to about 22.25 billion cedis in 2024. Out of this, the free SHS budget is 2.8 billion, which is about 11%. Despite this, you continue to hear from government circles, communicators, that the free SHS program is to blame for the huge budgets in the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Education. But the figures as I've put out here indicate that the free SHS is just about 11% of the total budget, 2.8 as against 25 billion. We've seen the President set up a committee to dialogue on education. Inherent in it could be the suspicion that government wants to review the free SHS program. With this information at hand, are you in a position to advise the Finance Minister, free SHS, and suggest other means to ensure there is proper and efficient allocation of the budget at the Ministry of Education?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'm not aware of any subtle intention to cancel free SHS. And as you said, I would support my minister to provide adequate funding to support education. As to the outcome of the Education Forum, if Ghanaians are consensus on a particular direction and it becomes government policy, I would support it in any way. But like I said, President Mahama gave Ghanaians the assurance that he would not cancel free SHS, and I know he's a man of his word.
Mr. Chairman, just a simple follow-up. Based on the figures as I have produced, would you agree with me that the free SHS policy is not the main problem for the funding of education in this country? Will you agree with me that?
Mr. Chairman, if I have any concern about free SHS, it will be about its implementation and not the cost implication. Thank you.
My last question, and you are a banker, and you know the role that asset managers play in the efficient and effective allocation of capital. They mobilize funds from the providers of capital, like individuals and corporates, and distribute to institutions which on lend in the form of loanable funds to individuals, businesses, and all of that. What plans do you intend to suggest to the minister to put in place to ensure that the role that asset managers play in this country is enhanced and made more efficient to the benefit of everyone?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I would support my minister and SEC to find out what modalities we can have to enhance the capacity asset managers and asset management companies to appreciate risk and to be able to perform creditably to support the economy as you have enumerated. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, on that note, I am done and I wish the nominee very well. I wouldn't say bye-bye for now.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you. I know that you're looking forward to the budget and it will soon come. Shift to my right again and invite my honorable brother as a subject matter. No, he's here for subject matter. Subject matter.
Finance. I'm a finance student. Let me congratulate the nominee, and I know he's doing well. He's doing well because there's my daughter behind him. He is my in-law. Mr. Nominee, your minister, the Minister of Finance, and your good self said severally that you are going to aggressively pursue revenue mobilization. Will you consider expanding the tax brackets to include so many people? Will you want to suggest this to your minister? Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I will.
Chairman, I'm satisfied with his answer. Thank you.
So, are you done? Oh, no.
If you want me to ask another one, good. Yeah, so my second question is that the nominee, I want you to tell us how you're going to help your minister to prudently manage the debts that you have inherited.
Mr. Chairman, the issues about debt is a very huge challenge for us as a country. And the minister has given a lot of indications that that is going to be one of the areas he's going to focus on. We are in a fund program, and the fund program restricts us from adding onto more debt. We have a program, a scheduled payment that we need to go through. So I'll support my minister to go through the fund program to the end. But most importantly, what we do when we exit the fund program in order not to come back to this challenge is what we all as Ghanaians need to start brainstorming about. And I'll support my minister very seriously in this regard.
Chairman, thank you. I'm done.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. It's now the turn of Honorable Jerry. Yeah, okay, go ahead, Honorable Patrick. Yeah.
Just to congratulate Honorable Lampim and to ask that he assists the minister well to secure the needed funding for the dualization of the roads ongoing, especially on the Accra-Kumasi belt. And I know the Afinia to Akosombo stretch too. It's very important to the country. I work with him. I used to chair the finance committee, so I know him, and I believe he will assist at well. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
So now, Honorable Jerry, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, just like Honorable Patrick Buama said, I've as the Chief Executive then been before the Finance Committee on several occasions. And I've seen the posture and demeanor of the Honorable nominee, and I want to put it out that he's a fine gentleman that is going to exhibit the same fineness in the ministry. Mr. Chair, coincidentally, he happens to hail from Enum, where my wife, mother comes from. Yes, my mother-in-law comes from Enum. I was in Enum over the weekend, and yes, for a funeral. And I saw one of his big houses, so. I'm just excited to be vetting my in-law, so that if he doesn't bring money for me to take care of his sister, there will be problem. That's all. So just by way of introduction,
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I am happy with this disclosure. And culturally, he owes me. If he has come for my sister, he has to come and pay a Akontasekan. So he owes me. But I must say that any big mansion he saw there is not mine.
yes, that's just by the way, so that's correct on the record. Mr. Chair, so my first question is to find out if the honorable nominee is aware of the withdrawals or cancellations of aid by the United States government, and whatever plans he intends to support his honorable minister with reference to those aids, now that we are having aids cancelled and withdrawn by the United States. What's your take on that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, yes, I've come to be aware of the USAID funding that has been curtailed. And I am told we were hoping to get some $156 million or so to finance some programs in the area of health, education, and others. Subsequently, His Excellency President Mahama has instructed the Finance Minister to look for funds to bridge the gap. So, preparing the 2025 budget, so I'm sure the Minister will be able to make provision to bridge the gap. But, Mr. Chairman, this should bring us to the larger conversation about aid. We know that aid to our country has been dwindling over the years. Danida is no longer supporting programs in Ghana as they used to. United Kingdom, for instance, has reduced their aid budget from, I think, 0.75% of GNP to 0.5%. This should tell us that it will get to a time that aid to our country will dwindle probably to zero. The only difference between Danida and other donor funding and that of the USAID is that the announcement about USAID withdrawal came suddenly, but we have seen the trend that aid is dwindling, and so it is important our lives without aid and see what we can do for ourselves. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Chair, my second question, there is no follow-up. So, do you have an idea of the cost implications of the free tertiary? And we're here when the Minister of Education, Honorable Aruna Idris, indicated that parents could proceed with payments and that the awards or the parents will be reimbursed. Is that promise still valid? And the way you are smiling, it looks like you have the money already. Any promise to that effect?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In fact, being a member of Parliament, and I know all of you are aware of the challenge that our young ones go through, especially when they have to enter into tertiary institutions for the first time. And so it is not something that I need to talk to you about because we all experience it and we've been helping students. And so that promise to support them for the payment of admission fees is something that I think will go a long way to help the first-year students in our universities. I know some considerations were made, some costing was done in the preparation of the budget, but the variables keep changing. In fact, even the number of students admitted in the universities keep changing. Recently, I heard that KNUST had admitted over 50,000 students. So it is always not possible to give an accurate figure. But we are in the process of preparing the budget, and I am sure that provision will be made about it. With regards to the Education Minister's statement, if you know Honorable Haruna very well, and Honorable Anodom Pre is here, he can testify, a former student leader who is very passionate about student welfare and student issues. So sending him to the Education Ministry, I know that he will do everything possible to support the students in any way that he can. As to whether we start the payment of the admission fees from this year, from last year, or from the September admissions, is an issue that I cannot speak directly to. I don't know whether we will want to consider admissions that happened before President Mahama became president, or we'll start with admissions that happened from the time he became president. I'm sure when I get to the ministry, I'll be able to get accurate answers for you in this regard. Thank you very much.
This is just a follow-up. So can I tell my first-year tertiary students in Wejagbawe that Honorable Ampim is on record to say that before August they would have received some payments or reimbursement from the government?
Mr. Chairman, I didn't talk about reimbursement. What I am confident about is what this year's budget can accommodate. And that is why I said that I am not too sure whether that policy will take retrospective effect or it will happen with the first-year students who will come this year.
My final question, Mr. Chair. So I think I heard you earlier talk about an education forum, and we currently have, there is an organization, or there is another forum that has been organized or is in the offing, which is an economic dialogue. Is it a way of diverting attention and not dealing with the issues, economic issues directly? Or you guys, or the National Democratic Congress, headed by the president, has a master plan?
Mr. Chairman, I think that in our manifesto, President Mahama promised that he would have a national economic dialogue for all of us to brainstorm. And this is intended to build consensus on the way forward. In fact, President Mahama is focused on delivering, but it is always important to carry people along. And so all these fora are to build consensus so that we are all on the same page in the direction that President Mahama intends to send us. And I want to hope and pray that when the time comes, unlike Sinche consensus, our brothers and sisters on the other side will participate in this one, so we all put our hands together to build a better Ghana, to reset Ghana. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, that should be all. Just to wish him well. And I'm excited seeing Honorable Yusuf Jaja by him. That's another very supportive person on the Finance Committee. And I'm hoping to see him at his vetting as well.
Thank you very much. Honorable Umar, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Nominee, Honorable Ampi, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
I was here with you from 2017 to 2020. I know we did a good job as backbenchers. I believe you've been to the ministry and received some briefings. And I would like to know from the briefings, how much debt did you inherit? Are we going to inherit your government? Or are you going to help your minister to settle? How much debt did you go there to meet? Thank you.
Chairman. Chairman.
Yes.
The rules are clear that questions should not be asked for which answers are readily available in official records or publications. So we all know the public debt. But you are a member of the transition team, Honorable John Jinapo. You know it. During the State of the Nation address, the president also, former President Akufo-Addo, mentioned it. It was in it. He is not there. He is not there. Don't lead the nominee into temptation. He's not there.
Honorable members, let's make progress, please.
Mr. Chair, just a second, Mr. Chair, with respect. The nominee is a good friend. You know, he's conducted himself so well. And so far, it's admirable. I don't know why my honorable member wants to lead him into temptation. Why? He should just leave him to stay where he is. No. Honorable nominee, please, stay on course and refuse his temptation. Please.
Mr. Chairman, the only reason I want to refuse the temptation is for us to hurry up before Apenyomaken comes.
Are you done?
Then I'll change it. Thank you, Chairman, for still indulging me. Yes, honorable, congratulations. But how about inflation? Why is the country having so much? I think our inflation history is not to help the minister to reduce that kind of high rate of inflation and bring it down to the levels where Ghanaians will appreciate the reset agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the minister on this platform made a commitment that he intends to bring down inflation to 8% plus or minus 2. And I will support him to achieve this target. It is not going to be easy, but it's achievable. If you look at our inflation figures critically, you see that food inflation is one main driver of our inflation. And so any attempt to bring down inflation must focus on bringing down food inflation. And here we will work with the Agric Minister to boost food production. And also, you know, we are an import-dependent country. And so when the cedi depreciates, it has a pass-through effect on inflation, although not perfect. So if we can strengthen the cedi, we would also be succeeding in our quest to bring inflation down. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable.
I wish you well.
I now want to turn to Honorable Another. Please.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, let me commend you on how you are navigating and moderating the vetting. It's just admirable. Chairman, Honorable nominee, Honorable Ampim, congratulations.
Thank you, Leader.
Ordinarily, I will not have questions. I mean, all of us know your worth in this House. Over the years, you've conducted yourself so well. And you are also, I am proud of you as an Easterner, a fellow Easterner, I'm very proud of you. And I know you will do Eastern region proud. Just one or two questions, which I'm sure you are capable of handling. In recent times, the Bank of Ghana, the BOG, has been in the news for one reason or the other, not too palatable oftentimes. You are going to assist the Minister of Finance. What is your understanding of the challenges the BOG has been going through in recent times, and what advice would you prefer going into the future?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the BOG has gone through some challenges. I think for the past 2 or so years, they've been recording losses. I think 2022, they posted losses of about 60.8 billion. And that was mainly because of their exposure to, because of the DDEP. It affected the Bank of Ghana. The following year, they posted losses again to the tune of about 10 billion or so. So currently, their negative equity is around 66 billion. I have heard people suggesting that we should use taxpayers' money to recapitalize the Bank of Ghana, but I think that in these difficult times, it may be too much of a burden on the Ghanaian taxpayer. I'm just hoping and pray that this year, maybe BOG will start having making profits. So they plow back.
Mr. Chair, Honorable Ampim, if it's last week or so, Governor and Labour had agreed on a 10% increase in the base pay against a backdrop of some 23, 24 inflation levels. Do you consider that as fair and equitable?
Mr. Chairman, normally, in order to preserve the value of wages, one would have expected that it will be at par with the level of inflation. However, we know that the times in which we are and how difficult it is for the Ghanaian economy. I must say that His Excellency President Mahama himself participated in the negotiation and has had cause to thank labor unions for the smooth negotiation that went on. The finance minister has committed to work to bring down inflation, and if we are able to achieve this, the effect of the modest 10% salary increase will not be too much a hit to labor. And Mr. Chairman, if you look at it critically, the 10% increase on base pay is leading to more than 11 billion increase in the compensation bill. And so it is also our capacity to be able to do this. And so we are happy and we are grateful to labor unions for this smooth understanding. I believe that when the economy picks up, we will be in the position to do more for labor. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, my friend is very patriotic and honest man. Are you?
Yes, I am.
So the erstwhile MPP administration, as you do know, offered some 30+% between government and yet it was described, we've come from COVID and all the difficulties associated. Your government, our government, is now offering 10%. And you find it acceptable compared to ours?
Mr. Chairman, I said earlier on that it is important that leaders demonstrate what they want Ghanaians to do. I believe that it was quite easy for President Mahama to achieve this because of the signal that he has given to Ghanaians. Look, it is significant, the decision by government to reduce the number of ministries from 30 to 23 and to reduce the number of ministers from 84 to 60. So the president is showing that things are hard. I'm tightening my belt, so help us to achieve this. And I believe that that is what is giving us the kind of smooth understanding that we have. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, this is quite debatable, but I will spare my friend. I don't want to go into the nuance of it because the answer is professed and it's debatable. I could have or emphasize the other side of the coin, but it's okay. We'll leave it for another day. Or maybe we'll meet him in the chamber when it's budget time or so now. We'll go much into that. So I'll spare you on that. But
Leader,
yes.
can I just, a quick one? It is also, when you are negotiating, these wages with the unions, it's also what you negotiate. It's an anticipation of what you expect inflation to be going forward. So if you do you're able to achieve a lower negotiation in terms of the rates and it's accepted, it means that the parties all believe that if the figure goes up, then it means that anticipation is that inflation will be much higher. So this is good news.
Chairman, you are actually participating in the vetting. That's fine. Let's give ourselves time. It's only time. Honorable Ampim, let me test your mind on this. Statutory, I'm just finishing. I'm finishing. No, I'll just... Statutory payment obligations. And let me limit you to DACF, NHIA, and Get Fund. Your side had been quite critical over the years about payment of especially DACF obligations. Timeously, yes. Thank you, Leader. Are you coming up with something different in terms of prompt payment and the releases? You have been on the finance committee, so this is something you are very comfortable with. Are you bringing any insights to board which will help the minister to ensure timeous payment of these critical statutory payments, especially the DACF, which is very, very critical to our local government and our people down there? What are you going to do differently?
Mr. Chairman, I'm grateful. I'm a former district chief executive, and I am a firm believer in fiscal decentralization. And so in my debates on the floor, I have stated a number of times that we don't deepen decentralization when we transfer functions and to go to the ministry with your help. I would work closely with my minister to make sure that statutory payments, particularly DACF, is done on time to allow the local authorities to function efficiently. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, you spoke to your other position where you were district chief executive, and it's captured on page 2 of your CV. Page 2 of your CV. Are there notable achievements that you can apprise this house of? The former DC for Esojaman, things you are very proud of.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as a DC, I led in the development of a Sojaman. I provided a number of clinics, school buildings. I did a lot, supported education, and that is why the good people of Sojaman continue to support me in my current capacity. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, still on his CV, page 2. Let's stay at the same page. Your role as Interministerial Coordinating Committee on Decentralization that you are carrying into the ministry.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman, sorry. Mr. Chairman, yes, the IMCC Secretariat was a secretariat that was established to support in the coordination of decentralization issues. And when I was there, we were being supported by the European Union with a program estimate that was funded to deepen decentralization exercise. And we did a lot at that time. I learned a lot of lessons there, and I'm going to bring that to bear in my new role. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, he can take this on a lighter note. But now that the president has, found you and has nominated you to become, soon to become or confirmed deputy minister, your seat is one seat the MPP has been looking for a very long time. In my days as a youth organizer in the Eastern region, would you consider giving up a Sojaman seat now that you have been nominated as a Deputy Minister of Finance?
Mr. Chairman, is that what will make him recommend me for approval? But on a more serious note, Mr. Chairman, I rather would want to entrench the seat. It has been swinging. I took the seat from the MPP, and that is why you haven't forgiven me up to now. But I think I'm gradually making a statement that you should keep your hands off Sojaman. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, on that note, let me commend my friend highly for his nomination. I wish him well, and I wish him God's blessings. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Hadia Lali, please. It's your turn.
Thank you, Chairman.
Take the floor.
I would have gone that way, but already I've given them more than enough job to be doing there because there's no news. So I will not go there. Let me congratulate you as an in-law. Maybe I've not been worrying you so much, so you don't know. But I appreciate you so much, especially being on the finance committee with you all these years. Everything about finance on the committee and out there. And I believe that it's in the right direction. Most probably, because you are not yet there, you might be assigned to be the deputy minister in charge of revenue. There is one loophole that I have observed. And I think and believe that if we put an eye there, it will go a long way to help us. If you are confirmed, it's the market tool. You see, in those days, we used to have what we call ticketing, giving of tickets and taking. You go, you give the ticket, you take the money, and you have to. Would you consider ensuring that we take up this form of making money or collecting revenue very seriously Because we have promised to take away the e-levy. And inshallah, we will do it. We need to get money. The issue of Donald Trump and making sure that the USAID doesn't function again is a big problem. We need money. Will you consider going out there, working, advocating, and ensuring? Don't become an armchair deputy minister, so that these revenues can be collected properly to support us, and for that matter, the market women, and also to make sure that, you see, the women's bank, that bank, the bank that we said we would make sure it comes to fruition. Because I will not want to be asked. If I'm asked, I will come and ask you. Will you recommend and work hard? If you are, because you cannot take the decision by yourself. You are a deputy minister. You are not the minister. Will you consider working hard to make sure that these market tolls are collected properly? When you are done, then I will come back with the last.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, market tolls are one of the sources of revenues to our local authorities, and so we will encourage them. I know that our assemblies are not able to generate enough revenue, and so we'll see what support we can give them to encourage them to do so. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I know what some people will be expecting from me, but all I want to tell you is I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Hajia.
Thank you very much, Honorable. I'll still stay on the right and give Honorable Shaibu a chance, and then I will come to leadership, and we will bring proceedings to a close. Thank you.
Speaker, Mr. Chairman, let me thank you for the opportunity. Honorable nominee, congratulations.
Thank you.
As for me, I won't talk about in-lawship. A well-deserved young man tells the confidence His Excellency has in young men. I've said it here several times. And so, please don't disappoint, so that young people will not have the opportunity tomorrow too late. I know you will make young people very proud in this country. Let's do board. I know of cocoa board. I know of several other boards. But what is this animal called gold board? Can you walk us through what it's about and why you think that it's something to set up? What are the advantages that we seek to draw from that? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the gold board is...
Chairman, just by way of bringing clarity to my learned colleague's question, you are not yet at the ministry. And if you've not been briefed, you've not been briefed. If you learn about it later, you learn about it. Just to be sure.
Okay, thank you, Leader. I was going to give the little information that I have about it, but I'll respect his views, and then because I was hoping I'll finish before he comes. And now that he's here and he's giving me a cue, I better take it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Please go ahead. Is that a follow-up?
Chairman, leader has completely diverted the young man's attention from the very good question that I asked. But let me just go a little bit. So let's run away from the gold board. And I know as for Scholarship Secretariat and its problems, you cannot run away from it. I'm sure some of your constituents will be on the scholarships outside. the perennial issue of stipends not being paid and the rest of that, then they tend to blame the scholarship secretariat. But they don't manufacture money. You are the ones to provide money for the scholarship secretariat to cater for the students. Can you tell us what support you would want, or what advice you would want, or what plan you would advise your minister when giving the nod to make it quite sustainable, so that the students out there, we don't get the videos that we receive from various countries about the suffering of scholarship, students under scholarship. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Respectfully, before I go to the scholarship secretariat question, I want to briefly say something about the gold board question that he asked, because I see that the gold board is something that the Minister for Finance is very passionate about. And if you will realize that even though we have been recording BOP surplus for the last couple of years, basic economics tells us that once we have a balance of payments surplus, it should strengthen, the local currency should be strengthened. But we are not seeing that, and that brings into question what is really happening. And the suspicion is that the forex that we earn all do not come back to support the local currency. And so the concept of the gold board is it is going to be analogous to the cocoa board, and it will be targeting the small-scale mining sector to make sure that the revenue we get from gold export is used to support and strengthen the city. The issues about scholarship secretariat is unfortunate. I think we need to plan properly, give scholarships to the number our budget can support. Support in the prompt releases in areas that are in other countries, as we have been seeing previously. So I will support my minister in the direction that he determines for us to be able to do these. Thank you.
On this note, let me wish you the very best in your new role.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of the leader, Honorable Patricia, and then the leader.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, Honorable Ampim. The nominee is one of a number of sons I have in this parliament. And I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate you for making us proud. I know you're a very calm person, but I feel that it is about time that we also know who you are. So, Honorable, looking at your CV on page 2, would you like us to put it on record that Fairfax County Public School, because I observed that in one school you were a substitute teacher, and then you have another school, VRA JSS number. But Fairfax County Public School, I don't know where it is, whether it's one of the Ghanaian schools, or you need to indicate exactly what you do. Have our permission to put on record that is not in Ghana but is outside Ghana. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it's in the U.S.
Honorable
Virginia, USA.
Yeah. Honorable nominee, have you ever served on the Committee of Gender and Social Protection?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, in my first term in Parliament, I was on that committee. I was actually a deputy ranking member deputizing Honorable Haji Aladi.
Honorable, I wonder why I don't find that on your CV. Are you ashamed that you were put on that committee?
Not at all. I'm very proud. I'm actually a he for she, so it is an omission, and forgive me.
Do I take it that you have your permission to correct it on your CV?
Yes, madam. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Nominee, get the correction. Thanks.
Thank you. Honorable nominee, my first question may be, what unique qualities do you believe make you the best person for this position?
Mr. Chairman, aside my experience, I think I'm a very good team player. And I have served under the Minister for Finance, Dr. Cecile Atoforsen, on the Finance Committee. And many of members here were also on the committee, and they can testify that I'm a very good team player. So I bring that unique quality to complement the efforts of Dr. Atoforsen to deliver on his mandate at the Ministry of Finance.
Honorable nominee, as a proud he for she ambassador, I'd like to know from you that many women-led businesses struggle due to lack of financial access. How would you advise your minister to advocate to support female entrepreneurs and other small-scale females in other small-scale industries? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, His Excellency President Mahama and Vice President Professor Nana Opoku Ajuman are passionate about this, and that is why they advocated for establishment of a women's. If you are kind enough to recommend me for approval quickly, I would go and support the finance minister in the direction that he would determine for us to put in motion this important campaign promise. And
Honorable nominee, my follow-up that we don't have other existing institutions that deals with such problems?
not at all, but what I'm suggesting is that President Mahama intends to place focus on this through the establishment of the Women's Development Bank. I did not intend to suggest that there hasn't been any mechanisms to support female entrepreneurs.
Yes, then are you confirming that there are other existing institutions like the Ghana Enterprise Agency and then the LEAP and then some NIP, that's what I mean, and the Maslow, and there are so many.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there are so many that are available for everybody, both men and women alike. This is a special focus on women, and that is the only difference. Mr. Chairman, these are fine details and they will definitely come before this August House. Admonition by the minority leader. I want to defer some of these till I get to the ministry. Thank you.
Well, have you read your manifesto?
I have, but it's a source doc. I pray that the minority leader does not request that I go and bring it here.
I think you have to refer us to the provision of the women's budget. There's a clear provision. Please read it. Do you have it?
Unfortunately, no, I don't have it.
Yes, Honorable Deputy Minister, designate. Recognizing that women and children often face disproportionate impact during economic downturns, what specific measures will you introduce to ensure that our budget incorporates gender-responsive principles? Could you please give us a detail of how gender impact assessment might be integrated into the budget formulation process to allocate more resources to programs in healthcare, education, and social protection targeted at women and children? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, one way that we can do this will be through the processes of our budget hearings. Following the passage of the affirmative action law, I think that the Ministry for Gender, Children and Social Protection must take particular interest in these and find out and draw attention to gender initiatives that can be seen in almost all the sector budgets and not only focus on the gender ministry's budget. And I would take a cue from my minister and follow through the direction that he gives in this regard.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I would like to find out from you, as a gender champion, he for she, how you're going to advise your minister or encourage your minister to improve on the budgetary allocation for the gender and social welfare and social protection ministries. You know very well that they have a number of programs, especially with welfare, social welfare, where inadequate budgetary allocation makes them underperform. I'm asking this specific question because there's the need to take some action now. And I'm asking you, as a champion, how are you going to support that? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would hope and pray that by the time you approve me and President Mahama swears me in, it won't be too late for me to make any impact on the budget that will be presented in March. And so if you go through the process with dispatch, I would go to the ministry and suggest to the minister that we pay enough provision is made to support all the programs.
Thank you very much for your answers to our questions, and we're going to hold you to all the answers that you've given as gender. And congratulations for.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of the minority leader. May I invite you?
Honorable nominee, you have indicated on your CV, page 1, you speak English, Tree, and Guan. Which of the Guan languages do you speak? The dialects, the Guan dialects, sorry.
The Enum-Boso-Guan dialect.
Okay. So, what's the meaning of Wochime?
I didn't hear the word well.
Wochime, how do you say Wochime in the Enum?
The way you are saying.
Okay. So, say, introduce yourself in Enum. Introduce yourself in the Enum language, dialects. Introduce yourself, mention your name, your date of birth, your work. Your people will want to hear you, and say a bit about your educational background, all in the Enum dialect, which is part of the Guan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Etreme Thomas Ampem. Inchu enu eneboso. Mini Amadora, echu enu nemese. Monichu boso, nemasichu enu. Koko mebo mi okrede, niwe mi school kana bo enu. Niwula, niwa training college. Training college, I can't say it in enu language. Ne won kase de se mekede. Yeah, kede me a boy esimi bebre. Ne ende in yeli esojaman onade se MP. Ne in yido se President Mahama ye able me hana ne umwabwa Dr. Atoforsen bo Ministry of Finance se mo amebi. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Advise the youth of Enum on how to prepare themselves for leadership, even as they are young. What inspiration you want them to draw from you? Say that in Enum. Let them know.
Mr. Chairman, Enu ebi boso ebi dami yoka ene sede ntese ene enu odani wemi school kana ne sende inyido mi de fuda ene nso hia se ne ehu se ne anyele anwa ene bede baboy onyame manso eto ene bo ase ekase ede ebele obu na enumde ne onyankopon bebo ene nene nso anyway so thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So your constituency is Sojaman. So you have Enum people there, and you have which other group again?
We have the Enum and Boso, and we have Akwemu in Sojaman, but we have a very large population of Ewe settlers there. They are about 45% of the population, and we have proposed there. That is why behind me you see the president of the Ewe Traditional Rulers Association, the Dademan Chair, as well as chiefs from Enum, Boso, and Akwemu.
But they are predominantly Akwamus.
No, the Akwamus are...
percentage-wise?
The Akwamus are about 27%.
Oh, I see. I trace my ancestry to the Akwamu area. You know that?
No, Mr. Chairman, I didn't know that.
I'm telling you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So it means we have a lot in common.
So I'll come home.
We'll be expecting you.
I don't know where I belong. Part of me, Futu and law, and then when we trace, they say, oh, Akwamu. So we all come from diverse places. That's how God wants it. So how is your tree, your proficiency in tree?
Mr. Chairman, before I come to the proficiency in tree, I'm happy that you have chosen to be at a Futu. So please, where you started tracing your route to Akwamu, stay in your lane. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I speak tree at the Akuapem tree very well.
Okay, so, say something about your experience in Parliament in Akuapem tree. Been in Parliament for 12 years. This is your third term, right?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Right. So your first 2 terms, share some experience with us in Akuapem tree.
I'm a person who comes from Medjuma or Parliament or Ofikasim, and it's a house of Bafofra. If you ask, I know any to and so what they are brassi, penning me awaya, Utimi, Esia, I also wet me, Enya, Apanya, Ayania, Ubetimi, Aye. Me ba Parliament, no. My Juma our committees, baby, so Bini, gender, children, and social protection. Committee on gender, so my Juma our local government committee, so my Juma our finance committee, me and I'm a chairman of the budget committee, our 8th Parliament, no Mansana. Yere eba sese adwuma no ade asa wo de wani eto ho a obetimi aye ni ye na so nipa ni meda nyame ase se ama me panya na meda eso jama fonso ase se wanyame mujidi na rebia woso ma me se me mesi won. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Do you speak some Ewe?
Not really, but Mr. Chairman, I'm sure I do better than the minority leader.
Do you speak Ga?
Not at all.
Ebe Esehogwa.
Mesefide.
Blonama Madakuku A.
Madeku Mesefide.
That is the unlock custom. Unkode.
Madeku Thomas and Pimnya.
So this is what you've been using to win the vote, right? So you go here, you pick something small, you pick, then you do this, then you'll be beating our candidate. That's what you do.
Mr. Chairman, I was forced to learn it in the last elections because of what? No,
You speak some Ga?
no, not at
What
all.
about some Krobo?
Unfortunately, no, just the greetings.
Now, so why would you discriminate against the Krobo language?
That is the next language I'm going to use.
Why have you decided to keep it late? Why are you not treating it as priority?
Mr. Chairman, I'm treating my language acquisition is not that sharp, but small, I'll get there.
Okay, so on your CV, education, professional qualification, have you done your national service? Did you do national service?
Mr. Chairman, I didn't do national service.
Did you do national service? Yes, no.
No.
Have you paid your taxes?
Yes,
Up to
Mr. Chairman.
31st December 2024.
Yes, I have.
You have a copy with you?
I presented a copy to the Secretariat.
Is Parliament work your parliamentary employment? Is that the only employment you have?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Would you be surprised to hear that you do some other business apart from Parliament? Because you are telling us that you don't do any other work apart from Parliament.
Mr. Chairman, I'm a full-time parliamentarian.
Do you have any registered company in your name?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Prior to you becoming a member of parliament, did you register any company?
Mr. Chairman, I think I registered a company with a friend some many years ago, but we never did any business.
But it's a company you registered. Would you be surprised to hear that your friend is actively working with this company, though you are a director?
That is not possible.
What's the name of the company?
In fact, I don't even remember, Mr. Chairman.
Let's go through your party's manifesto on this women banking.
Unfortunately, I don't have a copy of it.
No, I will take the leave of chair and to allow you to come with your manifesto. It's very critical. You are speaking to women's banking, and you said Professor Nana and the President are passionate about it. Let's speak to it.
Just a sec. I said earlier, I believe we were here. I think now that I know not only you personally, but your team's infatuation with the NDC manifesto and our 24-hour economy, we will begin to arm ourselves with our manifesto. But as I said earlier, the manifesto is not a driving license that we carry around. So I would not expect the nominee, if he hasn't got his manifesto here, because it is not a requirement anywhere, that he should arm himself with it. So if he hasn't got it here, then unless you want to engage him with what you have read in our manifesto, which I know is a lot.
Chairman, when you rule on the matter, our duty is to yield in obedience. I will accordingly yield. I thought that since this is a major policy of the government and is contained in the enacted manifesto, it could help. It will help if we go specific into it. But that said, I'll proceed. So this women banking, let me ask you. Have you read it in your manifesto? You. Have you read it? Yes, no. Have you read it?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I read it.
You did? What did it say?
I don't remember.
Okay. So you are here parroting policy. You say the government is passionate about, yet you don't remember what the women banking entails. You don't.
Mr. Chairman, I said I don't remember because I do not want to be asked to quote certain things that I cannot get right. But like I said, I know that it was one of our main campaign policies that will establish a bank dedicated to support women because women have peculiar challenges and that treating them and men alike as the traditional banks do does not give them the needed attention and support that they deserve.
So how is this women banking going to be established? We need to know the infrastructure. How is it going to operate?
The details that I said, that once you are ministry, I will work with my minister and get you the fine details, and I will share that with you once I have it.
No, but you agree with me that Your manifesto is supposed to be the blueprint upon which your mandate was given you. Your mandate to govern.
That is correct.
And you also agree with me that having spoken extensively about it, your suggestion is that you have read and you understand what the women banking is.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So are you going to open branches all over the country?
I hope so, but everything I say on this will not be official. That is what I hope, that we open a number of branches.
Leader, can I come in again? The nominee here is a nominee designated to be a deputy minister of a substantive minister. He's not a policy maker. He follows the policy directed by his minister. So if he doesn't know such a policy detailed question you are asking him, I personally wouldn't expect him to know if he says he doesn't know.
Chairman, we'll leave it to the jury out there. Now, unemployment continues to be a national canker, which you are aware. What's your own view about employees Ghanaians receiving employment insurance benefits, especially those who are unemployed?
Mr. Chairman, that would be a wonderful scheme, but it depends on if our economy will be able to support it. I doubt if we will be able to support it in our current economic situation, but once things pick up, I don't do. It is done in the out of place for us to experiment it. But I recall that something like that was launched some years back under the Ghana Cares of Atampa program, National Unemployment Insurance Program or something of administration. I'm not too sure where, the extent to which it was implemented, but it is something that when I go to the ministry, I would work with my minister to look at, and once the economy can support it, we can look at it.
In your manifesto, you promised to stabilize the national currency. You are aware of that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
As a deputy minister, what would be your advice on the approach to achieve this?
Mr. Chairman, price stability is one of the main functions of the central bank. The Minister for Finance has stated, and I even said earlier on this platform, that he has indicated that he would use fiscal policy to assist the monetary authority to achieve some of these things, and I would support him in that direction in the areas that he would determine.
We hear of broadening tax base and all that. Same as found expression in your manifesto. First of all, are you aware of that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
If so, how does your government intend to implement this, broadening the tax base? What's your own understanding of the approach to be used in broadening the tax base?
Mr. Chairman, we believe that in a difficult time like this, the approach to raking more revenue will include broadening the tax base, because any attempt to increase tax rates will be burdening the few people who are paying the tax anyway. And so we must aggressively pursue a program that will rope in more people into the tax net and broaden the base in order to rake in more revenue.
So let me ask you about tax incentives. The 1D, 1F policy was aimed at helping the private sector to be more productive, to be more efficient, and also produce at a cheaper cost in terms of the raw material and the machinery imports. Your party opposed this, correct?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, no. Your party opposed this, correct?
my party supported tax exemptions, but it got to a point that we thought we should pull the brakes.
So, in principle, you are not against the 1D, 1F.
Mr. Chairman, no, we are not against 1D, 1F, but we realized that the rate at which tax exemptions were being given out was alarming, and also we did not feel that there was a fair and scientific approach in selecting companies that would come under the 1D, 1F exemption regime. And so we did a lot of things together. I recall on the finance committee that leader himself and I were on, we had back and forth on these. On one occasion, the exemption request that was brought to us, when we rejected it, it went and came back with a drastic reduction in it. That in itself was a red flag to a lot of us. And I must say that the opposition to the 1D, 1F towards the end of the last parliament was not something that only our side stood against. There were some people on your side who agreed with us. So I thought that
who on our side?
it was something.
Who on our side?
Something in the interest of Mother Ghana that we felt that we should object to this.
Okay, Honorable Nominee, let's stay there a bit, because you see, first, you say some people from government were against the tax exemption policy under the 1D, 1F. This is for public record. Tell us who and who were opposed to it. I want to know from you.
Mr. Chairman, I was referring to the Finance Committee deliberations, and that is what I'm saying, that on the committee, discussions that went on, we know that it wasn't like on party lines. We thought that we built consensus, and a lot of members on both sides agreed that some of the 1D, 1F exemption requests could not be granted.
Thank you very much, Chairman. On this very important issue of 1D, 1F, the decision of the committee, the then finance committee, was to take out the raw material components in the application, and we did so. That led to the reduction in the value, and the Honorable Ampim participated, out of which we generated a signed report that was objected to by the minority at the time. All of us, we generated a report. We sat at Aliza Hotel for over a week and did what the House, as directed by the Speaker, requested us to do. So it's not as if some members on the majority side, there were some discordant voices before the directive. But after the directive, there wasn't any issue. The report was generated and signed, ready to be laid. And we worked so hard in reducing the figure from about $300 and something million to about $100 million, representing over 48 companies to create over 200,000 direct jobs. That is the work we did. Honorable Achampong was there, Honorable Ampem, they all participated. Honorable Ado, they were all there. You can ask Honorable Atufosin. The minority leader was a member of the committee. We worked so hard on that. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that is what I want all of us to share. I mean, that glory is what I want all of us to share, that we work together to reduce the amount that we initially were called upon to give away in tax exemptions from the 340-something million that the immediate past chairman of the Finance Committee mentioned to about 100 million. That is a glory that I don't think minorities should take. I think we all did this together. And honestly, Mr. Chairman, I feel that it is important that either Parliament or an institution conducts some analysis of the impact of tax waivers that we have been giving out to advise us as to whether the benefits is worth doing it and what modalities we should. I mean, it is something that I feel passionate about, that we need to have something to guide us as a House in granting some of these waivers. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, you see, certain submissions must be properly placed in context. If you say that upon scrutiny, the figures reduced, that cannot be correct. A decision was taken that the raw materials component should be taken off so that the exemption would be limited to machinery. It isn't the case that there was an abuse in the system or that the figures that were brought, somebody had inflated. You see, but the point I want to make here is this. We are a country that wants to support the private sector. And you and I agree there is a private sector that creates the employment, not the government. Therefore, any initiative aimed at helping the private sector to thrive must be supported. Now, your party, in principle, opposed the 1D1F policy. It is the reason why certain decisions were made by your side. I want to know from you whether, as part of your policies for the private sector, your government is going to introduce any tax exemption regime for the private sector.
Mr. Chairman, if my government would introduce any tax exemption regime, it should be done sparingly. I feel that the way the tax exemptions under 1D, 1F was given was too much. And like I said earlier on, I felt that it was important for some work to be done to ascertain whether we were getting value for it. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Chairman, you can come in.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I think it's important to correct some information put out by the minority leader. With this tax exemption, there was a particular company. When they submitted the request, it was around $256 million. Upon going through the document to raise the issues, they withdrew the application, came back, and it reduced to $142 million. This is the issue the nominee is talking about, not the later, when Honorable One became the chairperson, then we put all together, we'll tease out all the raw materials and the rest. That reduced from 300 to 100 and something million. Originally, when Kuku Kwatin was the chairperson of the committee, we did the work and reduced it from 256 million to 142 million. That was the issue the nominee is talking about. So the issue put up by the minority leader that we did not support tax exemption is entirely not the position of the minority. We supported the granting of tax exemption, but we got to a point, the numbers that were coming, we couldn't contain it any longer. That was why we took that position. So the Constitution is very clear on this matter. We cannot say we don't support granting of tax exemptions, but we needed to put the brakes so that we can make some savings for Mother Ghana. So we still support 1D, 1F, and we support granting of tax exemptions. But we need to do things at the right time. Thank you very much.
Leader.
Honorable nominee, before I ask my next question, Chairman, the respected colleague to my right has sought your leave to make a statement, not to even ask a question. I'm compelled to respond to him. The records of Parliament will reflect the views they express on the House floor through their minority leader. They said that they were not in support of the 1D, 1F and that they were opposed to it. It is the reason why they physically prevented even the laying of the report. The practice of Parliament is for the minority to express its view and for the report to be laid, a vote taken. This was a situation where the NDC minority prevented even the laying of the report after there had been some concessions and some agreement that all parties had signed to the report. The words of the then minority chief whip were that if the report was laid, there would be chaos on the floor. As to what he meant by chaos, it is for him to determine. The speaker called us into conclave, had a discussion. They said they will not allow. If today should we say that we are opposed to your policy, yet will not allow you to use your majority to lay and take a vote, how would you feel? So he shouldn't go there. The 8th Parliament, a lot of things happen. You use, your might, brow, to have your way. We cannot even do that to you, a percentage of that which you did to us. So don't create the impression now that the NDC minority as you were then, supported tax exemption. Hansard would expose the position you took on the matter. So don't let us go there and unduly delay this vetting process. Don't let us start a debate. You acted in bad faith. You said you were opposed to it. You frustrated government. Individual companies that had come, made presentations, you frustrated them. And you even said publicly for Hansard that because the elections were getting closer, these companies are companies that are affiliates of MPP and they were going to support us in our campaign. So don't say today that you are not against it. Rather, tell us that posterity is now dealing with you and you know that you bring exemptions for us to deal with on the House floor. That said, let me proceed.
Mr. Chairman, I think that we must put this on record too. The Honorable Minority Leader will testify that, and he knows, parliamentary record will show that we supported many 1D, 1F tax exemptions, and the reports were brought to the floor by consensus. So the position that we were against, it was just at the latter part.
That's my reference point, please. I say context in this exchange.
Okay,
Let's
so
look at
in
context.
that case, okay.
When I became the majority leader, the tax exemption applications that I came to meet, we met at Aliza, we agreed that the raw materials component be taken off. We were all added. Fortunately, members of the committee are still here. Jaja is here. You are here. He is here. Question is, after we had all agreed and done the report, to the House floor to tell companies are suffering. Now we are not in power. It's Ghanaians who have suffered, and these companies are still knocking at your doors. We know, and we know that you would want to bring them after your budget, bring these same applications for us to consider. Tell us that you've been caught by your own mischief and bad faith. So don't say generally you've always been in support of tax exemption. I'm referring to the Honorable Boama from laying the report. You said there will be chaos.
Leader, just to remind you, just to remind you, 1D, 1F is a methodology of a policy. The policy is to industrialize. And neither the MPP or the NDC is against industrialization. So it is not industrialization that we are against. There may be certain aspects of your methodology that were problematic. And that I will admit.
Chairman, I agree with you. I agree with you. What I'm saying is that as a government, we listen to the concerns of the minority. And the minority grounded its concerns on the huge numbers. And we came to a consensus to take away the raw materials component. And a report was made. Then you did a U-turn on the floor to threaten chaos and prevented the chair from laying the report. That is a fact. So on record, you had said you oppose to it. So let's end there. Now, Honorable Ampim, what is your view on this, your 24-hour economy? Explain to us your understanding of the 24-hour economy.
Again, before you come in, 24-hour economy is the methodology for industrialization.
I agree. Chair, I agree, respectfully. So explain to us the methodology for industrialization, which has been cliched by your party as 24-hour economy. Explain to us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, my party is advocating that we run a 24-hour economy where certain This will provide extended hours of work and will provide job opportunities for many people. And if you look at our manifesto, I recall, I know that we listed some public institutions that can immediately provide a 24-hour service, like the passport office. And recently,
Mention those public institutions.
I've mentioned one, passport office, DVLA, and others. Recently, I heard the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa, stating that they are going to initiate processing of passport 24 hours. That we think that we can work 24 hours and to do the jobs. On this platform, the finance minister said we would also focus on the real sector. And so these are things that we intend to do. And as a deputy minister, I want to remind Minority Leader that, as he rightly advised, I am a deputy minister nominee. And so if he is kind enough to release me and I go through the process, I will go and assist my minister in the direction that you said. Thank you.
Now, so what is the real sector of the economy? If you say your minister said you are going to focus on the real sector, what do you mean by that?
We are talking about the productive sectors. We are talking about road construction. I don't see why we cannot do road construction in the night, as we see in other countries. If we are surfacing the 37 to Medina Road, looking at the traffic there, why can't we work even in the night when traffic is less? And so there are a lot of things that we believe that we can do around the clock.
So, do you have any idea of the cost to government in this? Because all these are private sector engineered. Are you going to provide some incentives to the private sector to enable them achieve this?
Rightly so.
What are some of the incentives they should expect? The nation is listening to you. Tell the private sector what incentives they should expect in fulfillment of this 24-hour economy promise.
Mr. Chairman, one thing that we talked about was reduction in the use of power for certain times of the day. If you enroll in the 24-hour economy, off-peak period around midnight when everybody you can actually get incentive for enrolling in the 24-hour economy if you are working round the clock, and you get some reduction in the rate of power that you use because you have enrolled in the program. We also talked about enhancing security, that because the 24-hour economy will require that people work in the night, it will be important that we boost security so that those that will be minded to do it will feel safe and to do it.
Okay, so let me understand you. So what you are saying is that there will be a desk where company would have to register as 24-hour economy entities, correct?
Mr. Chairman, His Excellency President Mahama has named Mr. Guzitano as the one in charge of the 24-hour economy, and I know that he's working on the policy. In due course, he would share that with us. Anything I say may be a conjecture.
Don't say that those who be enrolled will get some tariff reduction and all that. Then take that out.
Mr.
Because
Chairman,
then that would also mean another form of conjecture. You are now telling us that, listen, you are now telling this country that there is somebody who is now seeing to the modeling of this 24-hour economy policy. That's what you are telling us. And that you don't want to commit yourself. Meanwhile, you are telling us that the 24-hour economy, those companies who would enroll on it, will get benefit in terms of electricity tariffs, and if they do at night. Honorable Ampim,
Mr. Chairman, that is...
Can I finish with respect? There's a difference between a campaign talk when you're on the rally, say 24-hour economy, you know, saying that people will be weeding at night, going to their farm in the night. This is Parliament. Please, don't try. Don't try. Is the policy now being enacted? Tell me so that I end here. Tell me.
Mr. Chairman, I said that the policy is in the process, but I also mentioned that envisages that there will be some benefits to those who enroll in it, and the benefits includes reduction, time of use.
Ghana for being humusu by papa. What the interest?
Leader, I think you are actually jumping the gun.
Sure. Chairman.
Please, it will still continue to be peaceful. We have a manifesto and a policy. The manifesto eventually will feed into the policy. Somebody is out there that he had mentioned who is fashioning out these policies for us to get the details. In the manifesto, we did not say anything about we will give a tax exemption of this amount, or that will come in the policy and in the details.
So when you were what do you say was contained in your manifesto? Tell us. Chairman, you are not on oath, but you are explaining. Yes.
You're still engaging me. All right. The promises given in the manifesto does not come with numbers. The numbers will come in the policy. And they have to put it together. Yes, you will have a first visit with a budget. And you can then ask questions out of that. To ask the nominee, the deputy minister, about these details, first and foremost, is unfair, and he is not in the position to articulate what you are looking for, which is how much we are going to give in exemptions and all that. That is what it is. And he is not in a position to answer those questions. He wouldn't be. I would be surprised if he is. That's the point I was trying to make.
Though you are not a lawyer, but you've just given a certain ventilation that you've led him into a stage where you are telling him that don't answer questions on 1D, 1F. Very well. Honorable Ampim, you know your party promised 60 ministerial appointment, correct?
Correct, Mr. Chairman.
Should we expect more technical advisors to the ministers and deputy ministers?
Mr. Chairman, I am sure that number of technical advisors that we will have will definitely be fewer than what...
Than what would deal with your matter. And Honorable Ladi and Co should pay attention to your answers.
No, Mr. Chairman.
I'm asking you, should we expect more technical advisors, yes or no?
I hope not. Mr. Chairman, I am not in the position to answer this question. I am not the appointing authority.
Would you be required to take technical advisors?
I wouldn't know until I get to the ministry.
So when the need arises, would you take technical advices?
Mr. Chairman, there are a lot of officers at the ministry that are supporting us. If there is a gap and there is a need to have a technical advisor to support, I will consult, and if that is allowed, why not?
Some people are saying that this government is a civil servant government. What do you say to that?
Mr. Chairman, I don't quite understand the question.
That this government is not a politician's government, it's a civil servant's government. What do you say to that?
If it is because we are reducing the number of ministers and that will rely on civil servants to bridge in the gap, then probably, but I don't think we should call it a civil servants government, because in any case, the reduction is about 24. So are you saying because we have reduced ministers from 84 to 60, the government has become a civil servant government? I don't quite understand the analogy.
Now, let me try and close up with this. You are aware that the president has only one term and not beyond, correct? You know that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And you know that very soon there will be internal competition as to who becomes a successor in your party, even as you're running a government.
That will be in all political parties.
That's we are talking about you. For now, I'm talking about NDC. Let's stay with you. You would agree with me that very soon there would be internal contest as to who succeeds President Mahama within your party for 2028 election, correct?
Mr. Chairman, as long as President Mahama will not contest in the next election, definitely there will be internal processes to select another flag bearer.
Now, in the process, how do you and Ato are going to be at the finance ministry to ensure fiscal discipline and all? Do you agree with me that in the process of internal politicking, it would likely put the government in disarray? And you agree, how do you assure the nation?
Mr. Chairman, I'm not too sure how the internal politics would affect our resolve to manage the country. But if there are any of those external issues, I'm sure we'll be able to navigate through.
You are a young man from Eastern Region and above 40. If they approach you to contest, would you?
Mr. Chairman, to contest for what?
Flag bearer of your party.
Possible, but Mr. Chairman, I don't have any such intentions.
Clarify this for me. On your CV, you said you did personal banking job at Wells Fargo between 2008 and 2010 whilst you were in the US. Was this on part-time because you were also schooling? You stated that you were doing your master's between 2008 and 2010. You said you got to America in August 2008. And then you're also saying that you started as a personal banker at Wells Fargo in August 2008 to 2010. Can you clarify something there for us?
Mr. Chairman, I worked full-time. My graduate school programs were in the evenings, so I combined work with school.
Very well. Chairman, I think that will be all for the nominee.
Thank you very much, Leader. Honorable nominee,
Mr. Chairman.
I'm going to be wrapping up. First of all, I congratulate you.
Thank you, sir.
Mine will not be a question. I've just got two sets of advice for you going to work as a deputy minister. And the advice were out of two issues you raised. One of them is to do with this procurement which is done outside, budget lines in terms of, what's the system again?
If mix?
The gift mix system, which was created or was implemented over 12 years ago when myself and the finance minister were deputies in where you are going. It's quite troubling that 12 years later, what the system was supposed to cure in terms of not having any procurement or any project signed outside the site of the Ministry of Finance, that anything that happens in this country in terms of project that the government of Ghana is going to eventually pay for should be known at the Ministry of Finance, so that at the click of a button, the minister can see all the projects in this country that are basically to be paid by the government of Ghana. It is still surprising that project and procurement are still happening outside. It is something I know your minister is passionate about, because he was more or less the architect when we worked those days on this. I'm just advising you that support your minister in streamlining this system to make sure that whatever happens anywhere else in the country, it's actually with some recourse to the center, which is the ministry you are going in. And it was when he was a deputy minister that he had a responsibility of working on that. So I believe that it's one area that if you are asked for, I can see you are passionate about it, you are asked to give any support. It's one area that I think you should consider, and your minister knows so well about it, that you need. The second issue is to do with an issue that Honorable Dr. Wafu, I think it's Wafu, yeah, raised. And also that is something that as a deputy, I think you should take a lot of interest. It will help all of us in this country. Because of the situation that we are in at the moment, obviously to do with money, if I should put it bluntly, as a result of being shut out of the external bonds market or the external commercial market, and also lack of confidence in our domestic bond market as a result of the what is come to be known as a haircut, that is the domestic debt exchange program. The concentration, and it did not just start when this government came into office. The concentration, since we need to finance our deficit, is being done heavily on the treasury bills. And that is one of the reasons why the treasury bills is basically going up in terms of rate. So, you need to help your minister in smoothing the long end, because all the instruments are being taken at the short end, which is not sustainable. We should move to the long end by smoothing it, so we can have people get confidence in borrowing in the long-dated area or space, so that we ease the pressure on the short-term treasury bills. This is just an advice that if your minister call on you to support him in that direction, it's an advice that I'm giving you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Advice well taken.
On that note, I would like to acknowledge those loved ones who have come to support you and thank them. First on my list is Mrs. Mary Joanne Ampim, who is the wife of the nominee. Nana Asare Akoma, the name given to me here, sorry if it might be a typo, who is Akomu Dontehene, Krontehene, and Osahene Into, who is also Krontehene of Enum, traditional area. Osahene, yeah.
It's another one by you.
Yeah, okay.
It's signed by you.
Okay. When we get a nominee from Efutu, I'm sure who call on your name. Nana Ansa Prem Akosombo Hene Tobwe Achu Habo, President of Ewe Traditional Rulers Association, Esojaman. Ne Abena Sefa the first, the paramount queen, mother of Bosugua, and then Akochaso Nyako Yabua, Bosomahini, Ne Tete, Nana Odia the first, Krobo chief of Isojaman, Akujiaman Nana Kwesi, and Nane the fourth, Adontehini, of a new traditional area. Lucy Awuku, who is a sibling, your sibling, and Right Sikanku, constituency chairman. I thank you all very much for coming to support your loved one, and I would like to say that we'll bring proceedings to a close. Honorable nominee, you are discharged.
Thank you very much.
You will hear from the
Mr. Chairman.
committee.
Thank you.